Hey, good morning everybody. This is April with the Resellers Learning Curve, and I am shooting this video today because it's been a hot second since I've made a video, and so I wanted to reach out to you guys and just talk about, I think, a couple of things. The first thing I wanted to talk about is any interesting sales that I've had since I made a sales video, kind of going over some things that I bought that were out of my comfort zone, some things that I normally would not buy. I'm still very much into an experimentation phase in my business. I'm switching things up. I'm doing things different because my sales had gotten very stagnant, and quite frankly, that's working out pretty well for me. Like, it's been an enlightening experience. At this time in my business, it's one of the few times since I've sold on eBay that I don't have an assistant of sorts helping me with listings. So I'm having to do all of the listings by myself, which is, I'm not going to say it's challenging, but it definitely keeps me from producing the level of new listings that I want to produce. And the other thing that I'm doing that's ongoing that will probably take me through the end of the summer is my storage unit organization inventory project. And I'm not really rushing through it, but I'm making great progress. I've pulled a lot of things out of my unit that for one reason or another, they just weren't listed anymore, or they shouldn't have been listed anymore. And so I'm finally purging those listings, and that is a very time-consuming process. So that's like my business stuff that's keeping me busy, not to mention my teenager who starts the 9th grade in August, and my 4-year-old who is she's a handful. My daughter's a handful. So to talk about sales, the first thing that's really interesting that I sold was a vintage Ferrere, F-E-R-R-E. I think the first name is Gianfranco. It was a leather motorcycle jacket that I picked up for like $7-8. That sold for 70 bucks. And that sold to someone who wanted to buy a second item for me. So I actually made concessions on shipping because I could absolutely combine those two items into one shipment. So I sold, like I said, Gianfranco Ferrere, a leather jacket. It sold for 70 bucks in one day. That's another thing that I want to talk about, is these items that sell in one day, because they are out there. Another thing that I listed recently that sold in one day was a Soleil Studio hand-painted earthenware squash colored vase. It was a 9-inch vase, less than mint condition, but I picked it up for 3 bucks. It sold for $35 plus $15 shipping. So that was pretty cool. Let me see the next screen. I took a best offer on a printer. It was an Epson R280 photo printer, high definition, ultra high definition. I'm not really sure what that means in the photo world, but I took a best offer on it. I know for a fact that I paid $19.99 at Salvation Army for that printer, so I accepted an offer of $115 on that printer. Another thing that sold really fast to me, this is odd, and I'm only mentioning it because it was one of the items that I pulled out of my storage unit. I think I either realized that it wasn't listed or it was listed too high, but it was a Harley Davidson t-shirt. It was brand new with tags. It was like sleeveless. The sleeves were cut off, or it was designed to be sleeveless. Anywho, once I adjusted the price or relisted or whatever I needed to do on that, it sold in a day for $25 plus priority shipping. Another thing that sold in one day is a Polo Ralph Lauren Football Club white Big Pony full zip jacket. This jacket I've had on hand for a while, and the reason that I've had it on hand for a while is because it was white and it needed some cleaning, and anything that needs cleaned goes to the back of my list. That goes to the bottom of the death pile, because I hate even doing my own laundry. So doing laundry for my business is like, yeah, if it takes about cleaning, it's gonna be a while before I get to it. Once I finally got to that jacket and got it listed, it sold within a day for $39.99 plus shipping. And that that was a really nice jacket. Like, somebody is going to really love that jacket because it is a vintage item and it is white, even though it's not in absolute perfect condition. It's a nice polo item if you're a polo person. Another thing that sold to me is I took a best offer on a lot of Wilson baseball gloves. Shout out to Brian, the Oak Park picker. Brian sent me a message on Instagram saying that I should probably separate those, and he was right. I probably should have, but I told him once, you know, I get to those in the unit, then I'll relook at that listing. And I took an offer before I got to those in the unit of $200 because I paid $4 each for those gloves. So $12 into $200, excellent flip for me. I was happy. The next thing that sold in one day, and this was super interesting, was a baseball bat. I got this baseball bat for $5.99. It sold for $59.99 within hours of me listing it. It is a D. Marini Voodoo SC3 long barrel baseball bat. It was an aluminum bat. If you guys see aluminum baseball bats, really look those up because some of them are worth excellent money. And that seems to be the last screen I had of solds. So yeah, those are the notable items that I've sold, I would say, in the past week or so. Yeah, this is going back to the 13th. Yeah. So those are my solds for the past week that I thought were interesting or notable or worth mentioning. Another thing that I really briefly wanted to mention is there was a discussion recently in my Facebook group, and a poster, I want to say a relatively new poster in the group, asked the question if it was possible to make $500 a month reselling. Of course, I said, absolutely, it's possible. I've made, you know, over, I think my worst month in the past 3 years was like $2,000. But I've made a few $1,000s a month reselling for a few years now. And even though it's not always perfect, I'm not always, you know, things aren't just flying off the shelves. With a little bit of consistency and a lot of hustle, it's very possible. So then we got into the numbers game, and I hate really getting deep into numbers because everybody's numbers are so different. My margins are vastly different from other people's margins, and you have to decide for yourself what is an acceptable margin for you, and then you have to do what's best for you personally and for your business professionally. Here is a good example of how I want to look at this, and if you guys want to talk about this farther, let me know, and I can make a video where I go into great detail about it. I believe that if you spend $25 on inventory, if you output $25 on inventory, you should easily, and I'm saying easily, like with not a ton of effort, you should easily be able to generate $100 in sales. Spend $25, $100 in sales. Now, what you also want to take into account is that a quarter of that, so say another $25, is going to be fees or shipping or your invoice, your overhead costs, whatever those overhead costs look like. Just take off another 25% for that. So if you spend $25, you should be able to make $100, but $25 is going to be used for business expenses. So essentially, you invest $25 to make $100, and then another $50 is outgoing, so you have $50 profit. That is what I believe is totally possible for every single person that wants to resell. If you're not able to achieve those kind of margins, then there's a problem, and you probably should take a close look at your business and what you're sourcing and what you're selling and some of your business practices. If you're not able to turn $25 into $100, there's a problem. I truly believe that. I truly believe that. And as an example, I actually was away from home this weekend, all weekend. I was in Pittsburgh. My son had a tournament. So Saturday and Sunday, I was down in the Berg. And I stopped at, I want to say, 3 Goodwill stores. The first one was by far, I want to say, the best. The first store I stopped in, I only bought 3 things, and they were all 3 dresses. In Pittsburgh, their dresses are twice as much as they are here in Youngstown. So I'm used to paying about $3.49 for a dress, but in Pittsburgh, they were $7, which I, didn't love. because that's twice as much as I'm normally used to paying for a dress. But the dresses that I got were so fire, so fire. One of them was a Y3 by Yohji Yamamoto. It was part of his Adidas collaboration. Just like the coolest, most ridiculous workout thing that I think I've ever seen in my life. So there was that thing. And then there was a Lisa Perry dress. I had never heard of the brand Lisa Perry, but when I felt the material, and this is why I tell people, do not depend on brands. A list of brands is not going to tell you everything that you need to know in order to successfully resell. So asking for brands is really not helpful. When I felt the material on this dress, I knew that there was something special and different about it. And when I looked up this dress, I realized that they currently are selling at Barney's, New York for $995. And I got the dress for $7 and it does not have a single flaw. Like, this dress is in mint condition. And then there was another one, I want to say Bryn Walker, B-R-Y-N. I could be off because I didn't pay a ton of attention to it, but I did get it listed. But that is another item that I paid $7 for, and those dresses are going for 50, 60, 70 bucks. So a list of brands is not going to allow you to be able to just get out here and sell all of the things. You have to really, really, really develop your skill set. You have to develop your eye, your picker eye, and just know when something is special and different enough that you should look into it. That is going to allow you to be able to turn $25 into $100. That's how you do it. That's how you do it every single day. That's how you do it. I also picked up a tennis racket at the second store that I stopped at. The second store that I stopped at in Pittsburgh was not as awesome. And I honestly, I bought a shirt for my daughter. Like, it was just like a less productive trip. And then the final store that I stopped at 3 times yesterday, because it was 10 minutes from the venue and I was back and forth, you know, dropping them off, taking them something to drink, that sort of thing. The third store that I stopped at yesterday was probably one of the bigger Goodwills in Pittsburgh. It's one that I've definitely been to before. I remember a couple of years ago finding a pair of Prada shoes at this particular Goodwill. But I just got a few clothing items. 3 of them were blue tags, which at this store on Sunday were 99 cents. So I was all over that. But then I got 3 regular price items. I know one of them was a flax item. And those flax women's items do so well, so well. And another one was a New Tags All Saints dress that I'm excited to list, but it looks like it was balled up in the bottom of a pile, so I have to iron it first. So I'm really excited about those things, but in every case, for the $25 that I spent, because that's about what I spent at each store, I'll easily be able to make $100 bucks. And so if someone is asking if you can make $500 selling on eBay, yeah, I would say if you want to make $500 profit, it's going to cost you $100 to $150 bucks to do that. But if you have $100 and $150 bucks and you need $500, I think you absolutely can make selling on eBay be the way that you get to that bag. And on that note, guys, I gotta get to work. I'm about to be late, so I'll talk to you soon. I hope everybody has a great day, and definitely let me know what you would like the next video to be about. All right, later, bye.